Welcome. It's the Matic. It's the illest blur in the land. Welcome back to Matic. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Legends. Thank you so much for commenting, liking, and subscribing. Today's new video is going to be on the movie that I saw over the weekend, Devotion. Let's get right into it. So, this movie is starring Glenn Powell and Jonathan Majors. What I loved about this actual part of this film so far was the beginning. What I really liked was just the aesthetics. It had like the 1950s. It really looked like the 1950s, whether it was the community that Jesse lived in, which is played by Jonathan Majors. Also, just the clothing and just that style back within the 1950s, because this does take place in the 1950s. Also, what I liked about this film was the relationship between Jesse and Tom, which is played by Glenn Powell. We see the tension between the two. There's a friendship, you know what I'm saying? They're both in the Navy, and we see the problems that they have with one another. Jesse having problems with his co-workers due to the trauma that he went through on the other Navy base. He wasn't treated fairly, and we saw how that affected him throughout this actual film. We see Jesse not being open to pretty much Tom, which is played by Glenn Powell, and we see Tom wanting to befriend Jesse, and the friendship had some good and it had some bad. The good was Jesse wanted to be friends with him, but due to how people treated him because he was black at the other Navy base, played a key factor to why he was kind of like not wanting to be friends with Tom. But over time, we see Jesse open up to Tom, even though he's a white man in the Navy. He wasn't like the other co-workers that treated him very harshly at the previous base. Now, one thing about this film that I got in when I got into it, I expected this to be more of an action based on a true story type of film, because it's called Devotion, and maybe that was the thing that was a bit of a letdown. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it was a bit of a letdown. If you can get past it being more of a drama than an action war movie, you will be okay with this. Literally, I was like, okay, you know what? It's not what I expected it to be, but you know what? This is based on someone's life, and I have to respect that maybe this wasn't supposed to be an action-based film, but I'll talk about the action that comes in it later this review. The other thing that I really liked about the film was the chemistry between the actors. The lady that played Daisy, which was gonna play Daisy, which was Jesse's wife. I liked the chemistry that they had. They definitely had a husband and wife actual type of chemistry. And I love that we saw that on the screen. You know what I'm saying? How they interacted with one another. The chemistry was there right along with Jesse and Tom's chemistry. So it seemed like the actors really had some good chemistry within this film. And I like when actors, you can see that they're playing their part really well. The other thing that was interesting about this film, literally, pretty much what happens on the Navy base. I love that this movie kind of goes into that, where you see the day-to-day, where they do the training in the, you know what I'm saying, the air, in the jet and stuff. And we see that there's a scene in this movie where one of the actual Navy pilots does not make it, and we see how they have to deal with death sometimes, even before war. So we do see that within the film. So I like that they do touch on the basis of what they do on the base and kind of like, you know, their lifestyle. So that was something that was really kind of cool. I said, okay, you know what? We see that they, you know what I'm saying, they have them do things on the base. We see the interactions between the working together. And also the most interesting thing that I really want to say about this film was there was other, like, this movie deals with race, so that I just want to let people know that right now. The scene at the casino where pretty much they looked at Jesse because he was a black man, he was over in Europe, and they're saying, they tried to make it seem like Jesse's a nobody, and he starts to speak the language, and we can see how they were like, they hated that this black man knew a particular type of language, and they were surprised that he knew. Also, what was very interesting about this film, that we also seen that there was tension between the Marines and the Navy. So I did like that they showed that, because I'm pretty sure, even though they served our country, there's definitely probably tension between the two, because we see they make a joke about, oh, are they going to come save us up in the air and stuff like that. And I guess there was tension. We see that throughout the film. And I was like, man, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? They're serving the same country, but they don't get along with one another. The other thing that was very powerful about this film that I really liked is how Jesse, he went through a lot. You know what I'm saying? How he was treated unfairly on the other base. And what I loved about Jesse's character, he's got this strongness about himself. He's like, look, I don't need nobody to come to my defense. We see the performance of when he was treated unfairly. He used all those negative words, and pretty much he would chant those words. And it was like pretty much he turned that negativity into a positivity. Yes, people are going to say hateful things that they don't like about you and stuff, and even the racist remarks. And I think Jonathan Majors nailed it. I was like, yo, this was just such a beautiful scene. But let's talk about the ending. The ending of this film, I gotta say, it was a little bit more action in the ending of the film. A little bit of a plot twist that I kind of didn't expect. I was like, oh, man. But you know what? It showed you the power of friendship. How Jesse and Tom's friendship over time, at the middle stages of it, there were some rocky phases. And I like that they showed that, and towards the end, we see them become really close friends, or maybe best friends at the end. And it was such a sad moment, you know what I'm saying? We see Tom having to do something that he doesn't necessarily want to do, and him in the aftermath of what he had to do to pretty much say his farewells to Jesse in a fashion where I'm like, man, I don't know if I would have been able to do that if it was a close friend or best friend. You know what I'm saying? It was such a emotional towards the end, but a nice amount of action that kind of, I felt like they didn't want to go that direction with it. The only other letdown is I would have loved to seen how they treated Jesse a little bit on the other base. We do see one of the guys from the previous base in the movie that ends up becoming someone that had a change of heart for Jesse. So I did love that aspect of it to some degree. But I gotta give y'all a final rating. Final rating. I gotta give this a B-. This was a really good film. Like I said, the only downfalls is I wish we would have explored what his life was like on the other base. And like I said, it being more of a drama and not an action-based war movie. But you tell me in the comments, guys, have you seen the movie Devotion? Are you going to go check it out? You tell me in the comments, guys. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. It's a blur living in the world. Have a wonderful Monday, guys, and I'm out.
Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. Thank you so much, legend.